Hello, dear friends, viewers. Thank you very much for joining us once again live on this new international discussion on the back of the forum, Global Crisis, the Survival is in Our Unity, that took place on the 12th of November. What we want to do with those international discussions is to go deeper into the topics that have been brought during this forum. Very important topics. It was a 12 hours forum, so many things needs to be maybe discussed a bit further, clarified or emphasized. So that's why we have today one guest with us to do exactly this. So I would like to introduce right away our guest today, Dr. Florentin Fonche. Thank you very much for being with us. You are a leader of the Indigenous people from Ambazonia, from the UK, and you're together with us today. So thank you very much.
It's a pleasure being on your platform today, and give me the singular opportunity to delve more and discuss some of the great points, the great scientific reviews, the great scientific facts that have been outlined in the International Online Forum by the Creative Society. And it will benefit a lot of our people who are in many parts of the world to take advantage and get this information, this knowledge, and also pass it on. We would survive in unity. If we don't unite, we will all fail.
Thank you so much for being with us. Let's start off the discussion, Dr. Fonche, with what was the most vivid moment of the conference for you, and what stuck out the most for you? Let's go from there.
Yeah, when I was watching the program from about 3 p.m. On the 12th of November, what was so vivid and really stuck out for me was the sheer amount of evidence that the Creative Society, scientists within the Creative Society had come up with. It was just so irrefutable. The caliber of the scientists, the plethora of evidence that was put out there was so heavy, and I told myself, our leaders are the leaders in the world really listening to this, because this is a moment when we need to really sip this in and decide to say, okay, let's stop. Let's halt fighting each other wherever we are fighting and focus on this great enemy. And that is the earth spinning more than usual on its axis and creating all this mayhem we are having in many parts of the world. Recently, we saw flooding in Pakistan. I had friends sending me videos from Nigeria, from Ambazonia, of floodings, and that have killed hundreds of people. In Pakistan, it was thousands. And these are occurrences that are now becoming, to some people, a normal reality. But this could hit us so hard, not so long from now, if we don't start addressing the problems. It could hit us so hard that we will not have nowhere to go. So it really, really shocked me. And for many of the universities, many of the scientists not talking about these burning issues, to me, really, really knocked me aback. And I want to thank the Creative Society and all the scientists who have taken time, volunteered their time, their energy, their expertise to do this mammoth research in several areas of life. But one thing was the numerous disasters we're having, the flooding, the earthquakes, global warming, the real science being produced now that the real causes of this being really made clear for the layman to understand is something which really stood out so much for me.
Thank you very much for your answer on this first question. And you raised actually two very important topics that was also raised into the forum, is the climate change aspect of things that really need to be understood properly. The forum was not talking about a theory. The forum was talking about facts. And that's very important that all of us understand that fact about the changing of climate due to the causes that have been raised into the forum. And the other part that is very important to understand is, even though we are in such a phase and in such a urgent situation regarding to the climate, people, all of us, are still fighting against each other, which is such a paradox in such a dramatical situation we are in. And you really raised those two topics. So that might be maybe something that we can deep dive into it. First, about your experience. You mentioned about information that you had about Pakistan, for example. And can you tell us more about the view that you have on the environment catastrophe that we can see all over the world, and how basically the current society is managing it?
The situation in Pakistan and most of the low coastal lines of around the world, around the different continents, it's very alarming, because we are having tectonic movements far beneath the earth, and these tectonic movements are causing serious waves, movement of waves upon waves of water bodies, and which impact coastal areas, and we got massive floodings as well, which then causes the untold destruction of properties, farmlands, lives, and all of that. It's just so unimaginable. We have also looked at in the International Online Forum, there was great depth of discussions and the presentation of facts that we've got global warming, not because of excessive amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but because some of the magma within the earth has come closer to the earth from deep within the earth, has flown closer to the earth, and in some places, especially like in the Antarctica, it is causing, which is a bit thinner, because Antarctica is a bit thinner. So the magma is causing is coming closer to the Antarctica, to the surface of the Antarctica, and as a result, it heats up those glaciers, those ice bodies, and as they melt, they must find a place to go. And worsening the situation is that the Earth is spinning much faster on its axis. And this interferes a lot with the radioactivity of the Earth. It interferes a lot with the magnetism of the Earth in its entirety. And this affects gravity. And we've been presented the facts by top-notch scientists that we basically just have 14 years to save the Earth. We don't want to be seeing situations of an epic catastrophe in Mozambique, flooding in Zimbabwe, in Southern Africa, or in Nigeria along the coast of the Gulf of Guinea, Pakistan, South America. We've got even tornadoes causing massive havoc. We've got unexplained situations of fires even in the Australian continent, in the Americas. And people are wondering. And today, the science is so much, the facts are so much available. And from us, the common people, we are barely just asking for leaders in the international community, for leaders of the most powerful nations to really just take a break and help so that all scientists can focus on this data produced by the Creative Society and volunteers and other engineers and top scientists, so that we could try to see how best to fix this problem and save humanity.
You brought up a lot of wonderful points so far, but let me recap for those that are going to watch this, Dr. Fonche. So the international team was able to pull this off because of a multidisciplinary approach, right? And in our current consumer format of society, that's not how it works. You gain your specialization, and that's your narrow focus, right? So that's what made this unique and gave us the ability to take this approach and present this information, is because many people from different fields came together, looked at things from their angle, took the data sets that were available to people, and then compiled that information and then looked at it holistically, like what are the effects? And so comparing the hypothesis that something was caused by CO2 versus something being of cyclical in nature, both were tested, right, against those data sets. And so we found that information that the core is displaced, right? And it's continuously becoming more displaced as time moves forward. And so I wanted to recap that because you brought up the other points of the areas that we discussed. But for those that are watching us, they may not have seen the Future of Humanity report or the conference that took place on November 12th. Our Global Crisis, Our Survival is in Unity. So thank you for doing that. And I'm going to pass it on to Jonathan, and let's continue this discussion. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, Jason, for this very great summary on something that is the core of this forum is really the scientific fact about what's going on with the climate right now. But also from what you mentioned on the topics that really touch you the most, and also from our discussion that we had just before this this international discussion, you mentioned also the aspect of people still fighting against each other into this situation in which we are right now, which is like a complete paradox if you think about it. We are in the critical, life-threatening situation all on Earth, and we're still killing each other. You have a lot of experience about this, and I would like you to tell us a little bit more the way you see things and the way you see those relationships with people worsening time after time, and how do you see an end to this? Can you tell us more about the experience that you have around that?
Yeah, as a leader of the Indigenous people of Ambazonia, which is the former southern British Cameroons, I have, in the last 5 years, witnessed a lot of killings in my homeland, though from afar, and that really sent shivers down my spine. And I feel very, very disappointed that the international community has not intervened in the manner in which they need to. Because as these wars take place, how do we get access to a very important mountain, which is in my homeland, which could easily erupt anytime? Because as we know, with the rotation, the speed at which the Earth is rotating on its axis, the inner core is constantly being displaced and is finding for vents, for areas where it can, easily bulge out. It's called the Mount Fako. It's in the coastal area of my homeland. And we are looking, it's one of the highest mountains in West Africa. We are looking at 300 million people to the west in Nigeria. We are looking at least 150 million people in East Africa being affected. And this is really a big problem. So I started telling myself, with the fighting and killing that is going on in our homeland, why can't the politicians not just help resolve these differences quickly so that we all put our energies and preparing our people, even if it is moving at a local scale from coastal areas, moving people from indigenous Ambazonians from coastal areas to highland areas, hinterland, more deeper hinterland. Even if it is moving Cameroonians from the port of Douala, which is constantly, the city of Douala, which is constantly flooded. Yaoundé, constantly flooded. Why can't we just mobilize ourselves for sake of peace, resolve our differences, then move our people hinterlands? The same in Darfur, the same in Somaliland, the same in Haiti. Why can't the United Nations and other powerful bodies not bring in people so that we realize we just don't have enough time and we have a bigger enemy, and that bigger enemy is natural disasters, which will be, if we are not careful, in multiple proportions over a short periods of time that will just wipe us all out. I don't know if I've touched.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And do you recall during the forum, Dr. Fonche, that we discussed the 10 principles of war or conflict? Yes,
there was that aspect as well, which was discussed. But I know at some point, 12 hours was heavy for me. There was a point at which I think I went off a little bit, but I remember there were there was a point where that was discussed because I did come back to the video again on areas where I missed. Yes.
Wonderful. So let's just recap those 10 principles that were discussed, because it's important for people to understand as we move forward in this discussion and we discuss the 8 pillars of the creative society. This will feed very well into it. If normal people understood, lay people, the everyday average ordinary citizen, not leaders, not politicians, not elite, understood that there's only 10 principles used against them in any conflict. That is the creation of an external enemy, right? And it doesn't have to be a physical person. It can be a geographical conflict. It can be a flood. It can be a resource, but the creation of an external enemy. And then the mobilization against that image is used against people. And then further division is created by recreating that image. And as you've discussed, why can't people get together and understand that they're fighting for peace against the natural disasters? Is because we're occupied with these external images. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we have been badly bruised by the consumerist society that we've been living in, and to get people shift their mindset from being fixated to what I would call artificial enemies can be a huge task. It takes a lot of time. It takes, which we don't have. But I think compelling data and evidence provided by the creative society is something which might be a wake-up call for most people around the world to realize we must just put humanity first. And in doing that, we will not see those points or those created aspects of divisions that have been brought into our milieus. And in that way, people will then easily work, scientists will easily work together without realizing, oh, you are from this country or you are from that continent, and other aspects which really divide us rather than unite us. So to me, it is for us now to really keep pushing so that people become aware of this impending danger, and that the apocalypse is not far from now if we don't do something. And I think even leaders of the most powerful nations will put aside their ego and give this more impetus.
Great, thank you very much for your answer and deep diving on that topic. I wanted to continue the discussion, actually bringing another guest that just joined us, and I'm very pleased to introduce with us today to this international discussion, Aftab Alam, a student of political science and international relations from Pakistan. So thank you very much to making the time and to join us today into this discussion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity you people gave to me. I'm really thankful to all of you.
Great. So we wanted to start with you and asking you a first question, actually, the same way that we did with Dr. Fonche, regarding the forum that took place on the 12th of November. And we wanted to have first and foremost your view on this forum. What are the topics that we maybe touch you the most and that you would like to emphasize on from this forum?
Thank you so much. First of all, this is a very important topic the creative society is discussing on their platform. Unfortunately, in being a student of international politics, I never seen in my career such a great forum, such a humanistic forum, which are discussing and working for the humanity, without any caste, without any class, without any religion, race, and all of these things. But they are working for the benefits of human. They are working to unite the entire world humanity. For what? For the only thing that how they can live peacefully. They are working for the peaceful coexistence, which is the proper academic agenda of international politics and political science, the study of political. It is in the domain of political science, because if we go towards the history, so the entire states, all of the states of the world, they are trying to acquire more weapons and trying to acquire more economy and contain the other states through their powers. So what happened at the end of the day? They destroy the world. The World War First, we have a history. The World War Second, after that, the Cold War. Now, the terrorism activity and so many. Now, the world is facing another issue, which is the climate issue. And this issue is not of a particular nation, not for a particular society, but it is this issue which control the entire world community. Everyone is facing. They are not looking towards that who is from which religion, who is from which class, who is from which caste, but it is affecting the entire world. The developing states, the developed states, the core state, periphery state, all the states are they are facing this big issue, but there is no platform in the entire world that they are trying to connect the world through one agenda. And this is, I think, the creative society is doing that. The creative society is the only forum they are trying to connect the entire world. They are focusing on the peaceful coexistence of humanity. They are defining the politics in another context, which I have learned from this society for the last 2 years, because I'm connecting with this society. In books of politics, I have learned that politics is a struggle for power. But when I compare this definition with that of the creative society definition, which they are defining the politics, so I think they say that politics is a peaceful resolution of human disputes through peaceful means, through compromise, through humanistic approaches. And this is the proper way that you are solving the issues. So that's why I'm connecting with the society. I'm very happy. I'm inviting the world, other people to join this society and work for the humanity. and their conferences, their organization, consistencies, and all of these things is it is very, I'm appreciating these activities. I'm sitting in Pakistan now, but I'm connecting with the world community, and I'm participating to help the community through this forum. And this forum gave me the opportunity that I have also translated in last before this session for 12 hours continuously. And that time I was in Germany. I was a student at LMU University. And when first time I hear about this society, and the organizer told me that you will participate, and this is our 8 foundation agendas, and when I studied all of these things, so automatically they compel me that yes, this is the great forum. And continuously, without eating, without drinking, I have continuously for 12 hours, without any disconnectivity, I have translated the forum into Pashto language. And after that, in our society, I'm basically living in the border of Afghanistan, and I think most of the people, they are discussing that this creative society, the foundation of creative society. Even in our mosques, in our masjids, the people are talking about that. So this is the greatness of that society, and I'm really thankful to the organizer.
Thank you so much, Aftab, for joining us. So let me do a recap here and a segue of what Dr. Fonche and Aftab have been discussing about this forum, because Aftab had brought up great points about the delusions we hold about politics and what the difference is in the creative society format and what we're trying to inform people about. This is to remind you that politics is made up of polities, okay? And policies, right? And those two things combined make politics. Yeah. And we believe that politics is supposed to be a struggle for power, but let's look at what makes up institutions. People, like you and I that are here today, people make up institutions, right? That make decisions. And then policies. Well, who writes down the policies if not the people, right? Yeah. So we have this paradigm where we don't have to struggle for power anymore. And I just wanted to share that with you because that's the inspiration I understood Aftab was sharing with us, is that it's people who do from their heart, right? And that's the importance to remind each other that it's us people that can make the change. So please, Jonathan, let's continue forward. And thank you so much, both of you, for your wonderful words that are coming from your heart today. Thank you.
Yeah, so indeed, I wanted to continue on that topic and bring the creative society a little bit more into the discussion, because as you mentioned, it's really already there. And it's not about a revolution that we need. It's really about an evolution of consciousness of people on how to do things for the better. And that's something that has been really discussed in details during the forum about how the creative society, how the 8 foundation of the creative society will be able to actually do exactly this: unite people regarding a common objective and make sure we can reach that objective, saving the earth first and being able to live together further after. So maybe for a first illustration, I would like to bring up one of the video that has been shown during the forum, which is the benefits of the creative society. We've been talking about a lot of the issues that we're experiencing currently in our society regarding conflicts, regarding wars, regarding the way people are treating each other, and at the same time the cataclysm that are happening to our earth. So it's important for us to be able to see what is the alternative and what can be done in that matter regarding those two different topics, but very linked together. So please sit back and watch the video about the benefits of the creative society that has been shown during the forum.
For several years, we have been informing about the creative society. The most frequent question we hear is, what will my life be like in the creative society? Friends, it's time to answer this question that concerns all of us. Make yourselves comfortable. We invite you to a wonderful world where the most valuable thing is human life. Your life. Living conditions, everyday life. Already in the transition period from the consumerist format of society to the creative one, each person will immediately be provided with accommodation of at least 60 square meters for a comfortable life. If you have a family of 5, you will live in a house or apartment of 300 square meters. This housing will be your property. It will not be subject to taxes and utility bills. As your family grows, your living space will expand. A consumer paradise will be created. The availability of free time, money, and a variety of quality goods and accessible products. And this is already in the transition period from the consumerist format to the creative society. Financial freedom. People will become financially independent starting from their birth. From the first day of the transition period to the creative society, all mortgages and loans will be written off. No more inflation. Prices for the same product or services will be the same all over the world. No more taxes on small and medium-sized businesses. No more taxes on individuals. You will receive a universal basic income of $10,000 every month. There will be no need to work in order to have a roof over your head and feed your family. In the creative society, you will always have confidence in your future. Do you want more money? There will be an opportunity to work doing what you love to do. Only 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. You will have a vacation at least 2 months a year. Do you want to work more because you get a buzz out of doing your job benefiting society? Go for it. You are always free to choose. All hard, dangerous, harmful, and monotonous work will be done by robots and automated systems. A human is not a slave to toil from morning till night for a penny. You will have time for yourself. You will be able to do things you really care about. Spend time with people you love. Develop yourself. Be creative. And travel to any part of the world without visas or restrictions. In the creative society, every day of your life brings only joy and pleasure. Environment. Production will be waste-free and completely environmentally friendly. Pesticides and chemicals will no longer be needed to grow products. Only tasty, healthy, and varied foods will always be on your table. You will be able to enjoy clean, fresh air wherever you go. You will be able to drink crystal clear water saturated with good microelements and minerals. In the creative society, we will restore the ecosystem of the planet, and we will be able to admire the purity of oceans and the beauty of pristine forests. The creative society is a world of harmony and beauty. Healthcare. Perfect health of every person is one of the priorities of the creative society. From the very beginning of the transition period, medical care will be free for everyone. Doctors will be paid for healthy patients. A patient will no longer be seen as a profitable client. Each medical center will be equipped with artificial intelligence that will incorporate the experience of all the best doctors in the world throughout history. The very approach in healthcare will change. It will become 90% preventative. And all this right away in the transition period. Now, in the creative society, new technologies will allow humanity to never get sick. Everyone will have an opportunity to significantly increase their lifespan. To date, these technologies are already being developed, but the consumerist format makes them inaccessible for us. A simple device installed in the shower cubicle will scan your body and will adjust your appearance according to your wishes. In the Creative Society, you'll be really healthy, completely free of charge. Education. You deserve a decent, high quality, and free education. Do you like to study? In the Creative Society, you can get as many degrees as you want. And you won't have to worry about earning a living because you'll have a universal basic income. From the first days of the transition period to the Creative Society, you can easily acquire a new profession if you wish to. Artificial intelligence will create an adaptive educational program for you according to your peculiarities. You can study anywhere in the world and at a time that suits you. The Creative Society is a world of knowledgeable and versatile personalities. Freedom. People will decide for themselves what rules and laws to live by and implement their decisions through voting on a unified platform. The highest value is human life. Everything will be built around the fundamental basis. The world's media will no longer be in private hands, but will belong to society as a whole. This means that they will no longer be able to manipulate public opinion for the profit of a few. The media will truthfully and holistically inform, educate, and inspire people. Safety. Already, in the transition period from the consumerist format to the Creative Society, the fate of people will no longer depend on the decisions made by a few individuals and on what those in power will agree among themselves. Society will create conditions in which wars, murder, theft, slavery, human trafficking, and drug trade will be impossible. Crime will completely disappear. The latest technologies will be implemented everywhere, which will help the Unified Emergency Service to work proactively to prevent accidents and crimes. You can easily let your child go to school or outside being completely sure about his safety. You'll be safe and secure at all times of day and night by returning home in the evening, going for a walk in the park, or going to a concert. The main danger, the threat of a global climate catastrophe, will be solved. Humanity will never again be threatened by climate disasters and wars. In the Creative Society, you and your family will be safe anywhere in the world. You will get all this starting from the first days of the transition period. And already, in the Creative Society, thanks to a replicator technology, you will be able to get everything you need. All kinds of food, clothes, household items, and much more. As fantastic as it may sound, most of the technologies we're talking about already exist. It's just that it's impossible to use them in a consumerist format. Beginning with the transition period, science and technology will be aimed at improving the quality of human life. Life must bring only joy and pleasure. The whole absurdity is that, despite having all the possibilities to live in the Creative Society already now, we continue to maintain the consumerist format. We can build the Creative Society peacefully, without struggle or confrontation, in the shortest possible time. There will be no more revolutions, except scientific and technological ones, which will be a permanent and natural phenomenon in the Creative Society. Tell your family, friends, neighbors, and acquaintances about this perspective. Share how beneficial and cool the Creative Society is for them. You and I are living in an amazing time, when within a short time we can move from the slave system of the consumerist format to the free and safe world of the Creative Society. Everything depends on you. If you want such a life, support the Creative Society and tell everyone about it.
Hello, friends. We'll move forward with the discussion and then bring things to a conclusion. But first, let's start with Dr. Fonche. What are your thoughts on the video, Dr. Fonche? And then we'll move forward to Aftab.
Thank you for this very pertinent question. It highlights a lot of the key aspects of the 8 pillars of the creative society, which is about putting human life first, human freedom, and human safety. Safety in the sense that the technology will be there to prevent illnesses, not treat them, prevent it before it even happens. So it will not even happen if you do your checks on time and stuff like that. Then the whole openness or transparency of the way things will be done would give the power back to the people, to every human being. You know, the whole concept of utilizing AI technology even more than we do today. One fascinating aspect in that video, and I remember that night, I had to wake up my son and tell my son, look, you are interested in the medical sciences, come and see this, you know, replicators. Replicators will be the top-notch stuff, which we will just have our ingredients in the replicator. We go to the replicator, okay, if it's got glucose, if it's got carbohydrates, it's got some protein, and if we want to replicate a chicken, we just order for a chicken. And if it's got calcium, it will do all of it. It will produce the chicken for us with the bones, with the right amount of calcium, and then we'll have it. I mean, this is just so wonderful. You know, people will be able to move freely without any visas. Everyone will be contributing to the society in their own manner. And there was one aspect which was not played in this video, but I remember very well. I think it was that of the decomposer. So after having your meal, you can put away your dishes in a decomposer, which will break it down to the tiniest or smallest particles, even into leptons and quarks. This is formidable. And we know people will be asking questions. Is it going to happen in the next 2 years? In the interim, the creative society has proven with the technology and the evidence that the earth can sustain 50 billion people. So in the interim, we will not get replicators so soon, but we will have, say, a third of the Sahara Desert to build aquacultures, you know, horticulture industries to grow food for at least 50 billion people. So the replicator is the top end of things which will come very soon. But for that to happen, we need to come together because our survival is in unity.
Great. Thank you.
Sometimes it's better to be silent. Thank you so much. And please, Jonathan, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much for this. I really like the way you're explaining things because you really, first of all, have a passion about what you've seen and not seeing this necessarily just as an utopia, as science fiction, but really something that is really possible to put in place. Of course, gradually, but nevertheless something that can make everybody's life much better than we have in this consumer format of society. So thank you very much for your contribution into explaining to our viewers and make it concrete for them. Aftab, I have also a question regarding this video about the benefits of the creative society for you and your thoughts about it, and also how important it is and why is it so important for people to know about this as soon as possible. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, thank you. The utmost important thing in this world is human, and human are very much important. Even every individual is important because this is not something that, for example, the human, if we are not valuing the human, so it's mean that we are valuing nothing. So it's mean that human life is important in every aspect. This world is basically an event, and every event has a cause, and the ultimate cause of that is we people, we humans. So the three important ingredients we are of the three, one is water, air, and mud. These three are the ingredients of human being. We are made of these three things, and we are directly interdependent for our survival on these three important things: water, air, and mud. And we are dependent on these three things. But if we are utilizing all of these three things so on a peaceful way, so we will survive. Otherwise, this world will destroy. And if you are destroying this air, water, and mud, so definitely human will not survive. So for the last so many years, the entire world, communities and states are doing that. They are destroying this through different technologies, through different economic struggles, through industrialization, and all of these things. They are also making policies for that we are containing all these hurdles and all these problems which are affecting human beings. But in reality, they are doing nothing for that. So this is that's why I'm saying that the creative society is doing that they are controlling this particular problem of the world through their own agenda. And their agenda is clear, which is their central agenda is humanity. That when you are working for the human, you are saving the world. When you are not working, you are not uniting. And what we'll do, we are trying to, through this particular forum, that every individual, they trying to connect another individual with this platform. If we are doing that, so one day the entire world will unite in one umbrella of the creative society. Just a few days ago, I have a discussion with one of my friends from America, and he told me that what are going on in Pakistan about the climate issue. He's doing research on transboundary water. So I told him that in this year in Pakistan, the ratio, the NDMA, they discussed that in this session, after 2 or 3 months, this will be the worst. There will be the worst flood. There will be a dangerous storms, and so many other climatic disasters will happen in Pakistan. And just a few months, 4 and 5 months ago, I'm the eyewitness of that. That in my home there was 6 feet water under my home. All of our furniture, all of the groceries, and so many, even in our kitchen, there are 2 to 3 feet water are there in our home. And this is in history, in first time in my life in the last 30 years. So what's happening? I'm the eyewitness of all these situations. I am seeing all of these things. So that is the time, and it is important for the world community that they unite and they can talk about that. They can work not for their work for their own survival. They can work, for example, if I am saying that climate change is it's dangerous. So, and it is affecting the world. So it is not affecting the world, it is affecting me. And if I am trying to survive, so it alone I can nothing to do. It is important. Every individual is dependent on another individual for their survival. So it is important that we must realize this, that the entire world community must unite for this important objective.
Aftab, Malana, thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Fonche, thank you so much. I know we're getting close to closing, but my heart wants to ask one of you to answer this question. How important is it to inform each other about the creative society? How important is that?
I think without communication, we won't achieve our main objective or objectives, and that is building a society that is self-governing, that is focused on the development of the personality or the individual, that would impact society and communities in the way as exhibited in this in the recent video which you just showed. It is important that we communicate and share these ideas because people will see the need, as I said earlier on, that we don't have to be fighting each other. We don't have to be killing each other. We are both all of us are humans, irrespective of our race, irrespective of the continent we live in, irrespective of the social ranking in the society, all of that. And in these discussions and constantly spreading the message of the evidences we have seen that has been presented to us and the consequences if we do nothing within the next 14 years, in fact, much earlier than that, it would be a wake-up call. It would stimulate participation. It would bring about people realizing this is about all of us, not only a particular set of people. Because what affects me affects you. I yield.
Thank you. Thank you for your answer. I have anything on this as well, on this importance of sharing that information?
The important thing is that we are not here just to lie. We are here to understand this world. This is the important thing. To understand the world communities, to understand the world people, to understand the peaceful resolution of human disputes, to understand what is love and what is happiness. These are the important things. And when we realize that love other is basically love your own self, which is the top priority of the creative society, the main objective of creative society, that love other doesn't mean that you just love the other, but it's basically love your own self. If you realize that, so definitely you will connect with the world through love. You will unite the world communities because you are loving your own self. You are trying to fulfill your own desire. And this is the identification of your own desire is happiness. And when you are trying for that, so definitely you will be peacefully coexist in this world. And that is the main agenda of creative society. And my suggestion that it is important for the entire people and we people that we gather more and more people. We are trying to, even to school, colleges, universities, everywhere we can talk to the people about creative society. And when we are connect the entire world. So definitely we will bring change, and one day it will happen. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those words. Indeed, you said very well. We're not here to survive in this consumer format of society. We're here to strive in the creative society, and that's really what is important. This strive is thus very important to be a proactive strive. We cannot just expect things to come to us. We often think about two ways. Either we're doing the wrong thing for civilization and for all the humanity, or we're doing the good things. But there is a third option that actually most of the people actually are choosing. It's to do nothing, and it's equal to do the wrong thing. So let's be all on the right side of history for the future and be on the side of doing the right thing for our civilization. Let's communicate to all of the people on Earth about the creative society, about that very practical answer, solution to what we're experiencing right now in terms of climate change, in terms of communication and collaboration among the people, and make sure we can really have this brighter future. I really want to thank very much our two guests today for bringing your insight, your knowledge about a lot of different topics, but at the end, all interconnected to each other. And that's really the point of this forum that has been there, like to be 12 hours of raw material interconnected to really give the best and accurate picture about the situation we are right now. So thank you for being an extension of that forum today together in this into this discussion. One thing that I wanted to add, and more on the idea of sharing that information about the creative society, if you viewers, you want to be part of this international discussion, please send us an email to info@creativesociety.com and be part of this panel of people, bringing the truth back to people and making sure people are awakening on the situation they are in and understand that they can actually act. It's very important. You are the true heroes. Thank you very much once again to be on this panel today. Thank you very much, Jason, for helping me on hosting this international discussion. Thank you also for the technical support in the background, making this broadcast happening. Once again, I would like to deeply thanks everybody and make sure that you can be you viewers back with us on the next international discussion that will happen very soon. Thank you very much all.